Hey everyone, Xylee here, and what's the one thing people in the 1990s were afraid of when it came to video games? Drugs. Winners don't do drugs. Dare campaigns were pretty wild back then. But you want to know what's even more wild? Making the drugs the video game. Schedule 1 is an open-world economic game created by TVGS for Windows in Early Access and released in March 2025. Now, I'm covering the most recent build of the game, version 0.3.4F8. With that being said, nothing in this video is set in stone. Things are going to be bound to change, of course, since it's still in Early Access. But enough ramblings, because I always make these introductions way too long. Let's just start with the core mechanics of the game and prologue. So at the beginning of the game gives you a sort of rundown on how everything works. It shows you how to trim the plants, water them, package them, drive them to deals, sell them, buy soil and weed seeds, drive back, deliver the package to Nelson, plant your weed, and go to sleep. Pretty simple concept. An odd thing was, it says day 6 on your first day. That is a little bit weird, right? Well, police arrive and arrest your Uncle Nelson when you drive to your next location, Highland Point. Nelson has money stashed, so you take the money, and your RV gets detonated by a rival cartel. Starting scratch, you go to the motel and get a room, along with supplies to head up the chain. That's basically the end of the tutorial. Tip. Say you work as a drug dealer today at the hardware store. When you ask, you'll get a free container speed grow, which automatically adds 50% growth to your plants. You also have to list the OG Kush for sale. What you should really learn with pricing is that the game has a system for this. The asking price is $38, right? Well, we won't sell for that. Multiply whatever the suggested price is by 1.4, and that's the price we'll use. After we sell for a while and get them addicted, we'll take that price and go up to 1.6 instead. The asking price is $38, so we'll sell for $53 to start, and when they're addicted, we sell for $60. Does that make sense? This makes sure they pay the most. Oh, and the more addicted they are, the more they'll offer. If they give an offer for a product being sold for 60 at like 100 or even 120, which they will eventually, do not counteroffer it. Just accept the offer and move on. It's a 100% chance they'll accept the offer, and oftentimes only a 50 to 60% chance they'll accept anything higher. Maximize profits by staying humble and don't let the greed get to you. Although, I do have a tip about this one. If you're not mixing, then only sell at 1.4 because NPCs still have a limit on how much they can purchase per night. If you sell at 1.6, you'll be only getting highballers, which is a lot of money, but it's not as efficient as it can be. Maximize efficiency over lump sums. Money accumulates over time, you know? Dealers will also sell at this 1.6 price increase, so if you want to maximize profits, make a strand only deal yourself at 1.4, give them all the low-paying customers, and set yours to 1.6 to only get the high ballers. This is probably the most efficient. It's just something to remember. I'll discuss the customers to give your dealers later. Oh, and always schedule your deals for late at night. This gives a curfew bonus, and all plants stop growing after 4 a.m. All time stops. This prevents your deals from being timed out because you weren't fast enough. You can spend the day planting, harvesting, packing, and doing whatever legal things you need to, so you can complete your deals at night with a bonus. This will get you some money fast. Although you will have to deal with police. We'll get into that later too. Only problem is, all of the money you earn from this is in cash, right? Well, to buy things at most legal dealers, you need to put it in a bank. Each week, I believe on Monday, you get 10K to put in your bank in the week, and no more. To add more into your balance, you need to launder the money, which can be purchased at the real estate dealer. We'll discuss this soon, too. Oh, and my final mechanic are police and curfew. I never discussed how curfew works. At 9 p.m., curfew will begin, which has the police arrest you on site. Let's just stay away from the cops and deal at night. It'll get easier as the game progresses. If you're arrested, you'll be charged for the crimes, and any illegal items in your inventory will be taken. Remember, you can always hide from the police in dumpsters, or even better, invest in a skateboard. Getting on it and hitting them while moving will ragdoll them, paired with a metal bat so you can take them out several at once. If you punch them, it resets their arrest timer, so this can be abused pretty heavily. The final thing to be careful with police is punching or knocking out an officer will give you the wanted, dead, or alive status, meaning they will be using real guns to kill you. Just be careful and remember to stay out of their sight. Knock them down from behind and continue onwards. Remember, if you get this status and you're in a vehicle, they shoot the vehicle, it will damage or even kill you. For some reason, tasers also slow down your car. This is also another reason I'm not the biggest fan of using them in the game. Oh, and turning your back to cops will decrease their chances of spotting you for some reason. I'm not entirely sure why the game is coded this way, but if you can't see them, they can't see you, I guess. It's especially useful near the barbershop deal you can get. All you do is keep your back turned and you'll be good to go. A really early tip I can give is to take everything out of the RV when you initially spawn. Why? Well, if you steal the pots, hanging lamps, and packing stations, you can save some money. Take them and then take the call. Don't answer the payphone for Nelson until you take these. In both of my original saves, I never did this, although it's a really good tip to save some quick cash. Oh, and remember to save the game as much as possible. I make this mistake way too much, and it costs me a lot of time just due to my blatant stupidity. Now, I have a few early game tips here to discuss in the actual game, which won't be useful later on, but will affect your early game performance pretty heavily. One thing is to always keep your trash in a corner, not in the rubbish bin. Why is this? Well, if you bag up your trash in the corner with the bag itself, it can hold way more than it can in the bin, decreasing the amount you need to use. You can also go outside and sell the trash for money. This won't matter later in the game, but it's good to get some really quick cash just by recycling your old rubbish. Another quick way you can get money like this is just smashing ATMs and Cuke machines with the metal bat, although they take a while to respawn, so I really don't recommend this. The next tip I have is to get the golden skateboard as soon as possible. I mentioned this briefly when discussing the police, but that's just because the golden skateboard is the fastest and it will save you so much time. Screw buying a car. 3 trips with the golden skateboard is way easier early mid-game, only late game when you have a few laundering operations so you worry about a vehicle, which we'll also get into later. I also recommend getting the Hoodium one as soon as you can. Maximize XP gain early and get a mixing station. This will get your clients far more addicted and keep the cash flowing in. I also recommend getting the electric plant trimmer since you won't need anything else. Oh, my final tip, make sure to always use fertilizer on your soil. No matter the plant, fertilizer will increase your quality, and increased quality means they'll pay more for it. Next thing I recommend is a bit later on when you're getting serious about cash flow is to keep putting money in your dead drops. This is before you schedule meets with Albert Hoover. Remember to keep at least $1,000 in your dead drop box for him. Once you purchase a dead drop, the money automatically leaves the drop, and you have his debt paid off. It automatically goes into his account. This also saves you even more time by running back and forth by paying it off. It's really useful. During early game, it's also a really good tip to not go under 80% success rate with your deals. Always go up to people and offer them on the street, but never sell to them to anything lower than 8%. Just because it falls through sometimes. During mid to late game, I'd recommend lowering this to 70 to 65% instead. This is more profitable to make riskier deals at this point. My final early game tip is to invest in wall-mounted shelves. Why? Well, storage is going to be a major issue when you're low, and you can hide wall-mounted shelves behind your other storage as long as the interactable origin is still visible. This could save you tons of space and allows you to have more things in your little base of operations that you would have if you didn't. If you want to double down with this, the large storage rack is a 1x4 storage setup and holds 8 stacks of items. The safe is a 2x2 and holds the same amount of space, which can be useful if it calls for the right area. Now that we know the base mechanics, we should discuss how to get rich pretty quickly. One quick note is to discuss you need a good relationship with your customers. Bad relationships means bad deals, and bad deals means less money in your pockets. So here's how to make your clients happy. Although it seems tempting, do not punch them or pickpocket them. It's just not worth it. You can make more product, but when they hate you and you don't have anyone to sell the stolen product to, it's basically worthless. Just stick to making and don't steal. Oh, and don't knock them out. If you do it, it makes your relationship also go down. What I personally do is find a baseball bat, which can be found in many locations around the map for a free early game, and kill all the cops at the beginning. Even though you may get caught, if you do this, you will never have to worry about police. Later in the game, I recommend investing a machete since it can kill them with just 2 normal swings. The type of weed you should invest in early game is green crack. Why? It sells for so much, and you can get around $320 to $360 per baggie if you mix it properly. Oh, mixing. I've discussed this a little bit, but I should probably go into it. You can get a mixing station to mix things together, and that'll allow you to get ingredients from the convenience store and put them into your product, increasing the value and changing the properties and effects. The most optimal way to make the final product, I named Xylee Sleazy Breezy, is get a mixing station Mark II, or a standard one just to start, and do it in this order. First, green crack and gasoline, then paracetamol, then cuke, then banana, then gasoline again, then cuke again, then Viagra, and banana finally. I do this in runs of 4, so it'll take 160 gasoline, 80 paracetamol, 160 cuke, 160 banana, and 80 Viagra for 4 batches. 4 batches of 20 is 80 product, which can be fit into 16 jars. Remember, it sells for $148, but you want to list it for $207. In around a week or two, list it for $240 if you really want to maximize profits. Even though it's listed for $240, you'll get them so addicted they'll have offers for over 100 more than this. Just make sure you don't go any higher than $250. One other tip I have is to sell jars in multiples of 5 and bricks in multiples of 20. Once you get past the early game, stop buying baggies. Invest entirely in jars and bricks later in the game to ensure you're mass selling as much as humanly possible. Of course, this isn't the 100% fastest method for earning money. There's several different ways and even methods people use to maximize profits without even needing to use mixing stations. If you want to maximize profits, ignore mixing altogether and begin selling to random strangers on the street. You can offer them more than if they pay over the phone, and most times they'll take it if done properly. If you do this method, although, I do not recommend mixing. Mixing is only for fun. Now, there's 2 more ways to earn money. This is just discussing early to mid-game. The other 2 ways are gambling at the casino, which is very useful for earning money, or an even better method, invest in gold bars. They can be found at Blue Ball's Boutique for a sale of 10K each. Speak to Herbert, and I personally recommend spending 40 to 50K for them. Head to the pawn shop and speak to Mix on specifically Thursday, as he'll offer the most amount of money on Thursday, and sell them there. Remember, this converts your bank balance to cash. Although you can make around 20K to 50K more, you're still converting all of your money into cash, which needs to be laundered. Although, I recommend doing this after purchasing most, if not all, of the laundering businesses first. While we're on the topic, how do you even launder your money? Well, after a certain point in the game, it'll tell you to buy a property at Ray's Realty. You just go in and over the course of 24 hours, launder a good chunk of cash, and it will automatically get deposited in your balance. This stacks up in multiplayer, by the way, but sadly, I don't have any friends, so there's that. Now, you've purchased the bungalow. It's time to discuss automation. Yeah, honestly, I don't know why I didn't discuss this sooner, but you should never be afraid of automation. In the long run, it saves you so much time, and I don't just mean hiring employees. Honestly, I personally don't like hiring employees until way late game, which bungalow is around mid-game. What do I mean then? Well, invest in pot sprinklers and soil pourers for each pot. Along with this, make sure to get LEDs hanging up to increase your yield, and always purchase extra long life soil. This will make sure you only need to refill the pourer every 3 runs, meaning you can use it 6 times before needing to fully restock the pots. Oh, and if you use the pots, you have much more free movement to harvest your plants, allowing you to harvest them in more enclosed spaces. Oh, and now that you've purchased the bungalow, you've probably dabbled in the laundering section of the game, meaning you can pull a pretty useful trick from mid-game. I recommend buying a car, specifically the Viper, also known as a free candy van. It also holds 16 slots for items and only costs 9,000, making it one of the best purchases regarding the vehicles. Now, we won't actually be using this silly. We'll be using a trick called cop blocking, where you drive to the police station and just park right at the stairs. This gets the police stuck, preventing them from ever leaving their department. Make sure your mirror is in the center of one of the pillars, and you should be good to go. Something else I want to note is always drive in reverse, since the control is much easier and goes the exact same speed. Turning is always easier in reverse compared to in forwards, and without a speed decrease, it just makes more sense. Oh, and another fun tip about the vehicle, specifically the Viper, is to always park it in the loading bay at stores, since this will automatically load whatever you buy into the van instead of on the pallets if you check a box. It fills your inventory, then the van, then the pallets. Simple, right? Something else I want to put here before we move on to our next chapter is a thing called dealer efficiency. If you want to maximize profits, give the cheaper NPCs to the dealers and keep the more cash-heavy ones all to yourself. The best NPC setup for Benji is on screen now, which for all my audio listeners is Austin, Chloe, Donna, Kathy, Kyle, Ludwig, Mick, and Beth. For Molly, it's Charles, Doris, Joyce, Keith, Kim, Trent, Jerry, and finally Meg. That's basically all, since after that I'd recommend avoiding dealers for maximum efficiency. Profit margins matter to me. Now, this is going to be a fun chapter and our final real chapter, because I learned there's a soft lock you can get before even finishing the prologue. Due to how early access this game is, I had an idea. What if I just smoke all the weed before selling it to Doug, Joe, and Andy? Well, this is a soft lock. Don't do what I did. You can't progress if you do. It doesn't give a fail condition, so you're just stuck in paradise. How fun, I think? Something I also noticed is the weird graphical bug with the skybox during the prologue. The mountains just kind of disappear. After exiting the hardware store and selling to Chelsea, you'll get searched by the police. If you get in your truck at the exact same time, you can get your camera stuck at the last position. To fix it, just exit the truck. Another glitch can be seen when you first get to Highland Point, where you can finally hit people. Knock someone out, drag their body away from where they died, and sometimes they'll just disappear, but reappear if you look at them from a certain angle. It's really finicky and weird, though. Oh, and a fun skateboard glitch. Get on your skateboard, go into a bus stop, spam jump, equip your skateboard, and then just jump to get launched 1,000,000 meters into the skybox. I don't really know how practical this is, or what you would use it for. I just find it kind of funny. Speaking of launching things into the air, if you get on the hood of a moving car, crouch, and then shimmy back and forth, you can also launch them into the air, sometimes flipping them onto their heads. This one is more useful to use with police cruisers, since they can't trail you if they're upside down. By the way, once you unlock the warehouse, you can actually knock out Oscar and drag him outside. When you go to sleep the next day and come back, he's actually still outside. You can keep dragging him over the course of several days to wherever you want him, although it does reset when you leave the game. For the final bug I want to cover, I don't know if this is a bug or a feature, but if you go into the basketball court and get a metal baseball bat and pick up trash, you can throw it into the air and launch it into orbit. I guess that's pretty cool. Most of these bugs don't seem terribly useful, though. Hey, you made it to the end of the video. How sweet of you. Thanks for watching, I really hope you enjoyed. I know this is a little different from my normal content, being it's usually something Roblox or an older game, and not usually a new game like this. This is actually the first time I've done a video on a game that's released within the past 10 years off of Roblox, so it's pretty nice to see it changing up for once. I do want to apologize for the fact this video seems to not cover a ton. This is mainly for tips and tricks for those that want to get into the game, and some of these might, and as some of this might seem as common knowledge. If this video takes off, I'll do a part 2 discussing late game things and automation with workers, but until then, I think it's time to depart before I make an hour-long video. Oh, and I also want to give heavy credits for Flyjack for their Schedule 1 Ultimate Guide, which was the main inspiration for this video. Side note, as I'm reading this, on the 26th, the guide got taken down. Well, it was fun while it lasted. I'm still keeping my credits, though. It did help me a lot to understand the core game mechanics. I also want to give a quick shout to mixing calculators for helping me out. Although mixing isn't fully the best method, it's the best method that I use the longest to increase my supply and get me pretty far into the game. Plus, it's pretty fun trying out different combinations. I highly recommend checking the one out at schedule1-calculator.com. It's really fun to mess around with. With that, I'm gonna go head to bed. It's getting pretty late. I'll see you all next month, and remember to stay safe. Ciao!